Hello, welcome to another episode of the CRE Advantage. My name is Charles Williams. I am the managing member for Pioneer Realty Capital, and I want to thank you very much for taking time out of your day, out of your week, out of your month maybe, to spend with us. We have a very special guest. We have Mr. Anthony Melchiorri. Some of you may know him as the host of a show on cable television, Hotel Impossible. We're certainly happy to have him with us today. I think we're in for a very interesting discussion. Welcome, Anthony.
Hey, Charles, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for doing my podcast as well. I appreciate it. You were an amazing guest, and we learned a lot, and I wrote a lot of good tips down, so thank you.
Well, I think it's going to be mutual because I'm certainly looking forward to talking with you. But before we get into our discussion today, I want to ask our audience for a favor. If you are viewing this podcast on YouTube, do me a favor and like the podcast because I know you like it, right? And then also subscribe. This certainly gives us the feedback we need to know that we're providing the kind of content that's valuable to you, and we're bringing on the kind of guests that's interesting to you. So if you would do that as a favor, I would certainly appreciate that. So with that bit of business out of the way, Anthony, let's talk a little bit about the hotel business. Do you know anything about that business?
I do. I've stayed in a hotel once or twice in my life, and they have a bed and like a mini bar and stuff.
Yeah, I'm particular to the mini bar, but it's interesting because obviously, you're known as part of the hotel industry. People see your face, they think about, what you represent, and you're a spokesman, you're a voice for the hotel industry. How did you get started?
Well, when I was a kid, when I was 2 years old, my dad passed away, and my mom was left at 25 with 3 children, maybe even younger than 25, and she had to put food on the table. So she did what she had to do to put food on the table. And we didn't, like, some days we had money, some days we were worried about the electric going off. So you never knew. But she did a great job of providing in the best she could. But we didn't have a lot of opportunity. I didn't know how to become a doctor or how to become an actor. Or I didn't know anything. So her friend, and I'll use that in quotes, we would go down to Miami once a year to her hotel, her boyfriend's hotel. And it wasn't a great hotel. It wasn't a bad hotel, but it was like a typical Miami hotel, small hotel. And I said one day, I was standing in the driveway area, and I said, I guess I'm going to be in the hotel business. He never showed me the hotel business. We never talked about it. I never talked about my mother about the hotel business. I just didn't know what else to do. Everybody wanted to be a cop, a fireman, a police officer, a doctor. So I said, I'll be in the hotel business. About 19 years old, I joined the military, joined the United States Air Force. And when I came out, I was like, I guess I don't know what to do, so I'm going to go into the hotel business. And when I was in the military, I got a job at the Embassy Suites in Overland Park. I was stationed at Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri, and I went to college at Parkville, Missouri, and got my degree, and also worked at the Embassy Suites on the weekends. So I was in the Air Force, I worked on the weekends, and I got my college degree at night. I got my 4-year degree in 3.5 years. So I came out, I had some hotel experience, I had my education, I had my military bearing, and the rest is history. I jumped in the hotel business, and at the time, my goal was to run the Plaza Hotel. And within 10 months of me leaving the military, I was night manager at the Plaza Hotel.
Wow, very good.
And I fell in love with it because not only I fell in love with the business, everything inside a 5-star hotel, it's magic. Everything is magic. Everything's okay. No one has problems. No one's got medical issues. No one's got any problem. You just have high tea at the Palm Court, and you have breakfast and mini bars, and you see Will Smith and General Powell and Barbara Streisand, and you see all these people in the lobby. So you're on a magic carpet ride, and I just fell in love with it.
Wow, that's great. So now, how long you've been in the industry? I don't, you gave us some ages, but you still look 25 to me. So
well, I'm 50. I'm 55, but
55,
I was in the military. I got out in 90, but I worked in the hotel business when I was in the military a little bit. So I put it at 87. So was that 33 years?
Oh wow, very good.
Wow.
So now, throughout this 33-year career, you've seen all types of hotels. I mean, you've seen those that have been successful and those that have been miserable hotels. what would you say is the difference between a successful hotel operation and one that's marginal or maybe not as successful?
I say it all the time. It comes down to the owner and the way the building's financed.
Mm.
So there's two things, right? So the owner, if he's a good person, he's a good business person, he understands you take care of your employees take care of the guests, you have a clean room, they write good reviews, and it works, and it keeps happening. All of a sudden, you're a busy hotel. So if you're a good owner that way, great. But if you finance the deal poorly, no matter how good you are as an owner, that's going to affect your morale of your staff, because obviously you're stressed out because we're getting, best in class RevPAR, but we have a nut that is just too high to pay. So that's just not going to work. So an owner that understands how an operation runs, but also a deal that's well financed. I always say if the deal's well financed, I'll take care of the rest. But if you have a bad finance deal, and I've been involved in a couple of them. The first one at the Plaza Hotel in 1991, when I was there, if you remember, you can read the papers, who was the owner of the Plaza Hotel in 1991. He was having some real bad problems with the financing of that deal. And we were, no matter how good we did our job, that hotel was going to bankruptcy no matter what we did. And that was a tough job. And do you know who the owner of the hotel was?
I have no idea. Who was that?
He lives at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue right now.
Okay. All right. Shout out for Trump. So that's interesting. So I'm sure you have a lot of interesting stories. Now, with regards to financing, obviously that's my passion. I'm in the finance business. One of the things that I run across when I'm working with clients, they put a lot of effort into getting the right flag, getting the right location. They do all of this study, but they give no consideration to a capital acquisition strategy. Is that common in that industry? And if so, why?
Well, because hotel owners come from all walks of life. Some were dentists, some were lawyers, some had family money, and they come in and they're like, well, Marriott is going to fly their flag. Everybody's know we're Marriott, and the management company is going to manage my hotel. So I'm good.
Right.
The capital implications don't really matter because Marriott signed on the deal and the management company signed on the deal, and I got the money, so I'm good. And it's just a lack of understanding. I did a podcast this morning, and I'm a finance nerd. I was the asset manager at Tishman. I wasn't a very good one, but I tried, and I really learned how it works. And so a lot of times we make the money or we operate the hotels before we understand the financial component. If you have 10 friends outside the financial business, how many of them understand how to balance a checkbook?
The wives generally do.
Yeah, and a lot of the wives are good at it, but a lot of people aren't good at the finance business.
None of my friends have checkbooks, by the way. So
What's that?
I said none of my friends have checkbooks.
Right. So it's people. The financing part of it, and the money part, and the bank part, and the loan part is not the fun part of the business for most people. The fun part of the business is walking to the lobby and seeing their guests get checked in and say, "This is my hotel." So people, you know it. You always say you gotta be prepared, and they're just not prepared for that part of it. They're not educated. I wasn't educated in that business, and I'm still not educated in that business as much as I'd like to be until very late in life, probably in my 40s.
Right. So what do you think, just one more question on the finance side, what do you think we can do as people who really care about the industry to provide that financial acumen, that education? What do you think it needs? What are your thoughts and ideas?
Honestly, understand how an owner feels when their competition is beating them because they have resources they don't have. Right. Understand the true pain of not being able to find good employees, because it's really hard to find good housekeepers and front desk people, even in this economy, believe it or not. Right. Understand their pain. Understand what they're dealing with every single day at 4 o'clock in the morning. We don't close. We're a 24/7 business. Understand that just feels like a tsunami of events are happening throughout the day, And then, oh yeah, I got to keep this thing going, so I have to get it financed. So the more you can talk the hoteliers' language, I just had somebody on my podcast not too long ago, and I can't remember who it was, but they had a PhD in hospitality. And as I told you before, when I come on my podcast, me and my partner, I don't even know who's going to be on my podcast that day because I like just going off the cuff. And he comes on, he has a PhD in hospitality. I said, whoa, before we even start, the show started, we were live. I said, before we even go, you better give me your background and you better have been in the operations or this conversation's over. And he went chapter and verse of, he was in housekeeping, he was in banquets, he was the front desk. And I said, okay, now I can talk to you. Because if you have a PhD in hospitality and you never worked in a hotel or you worked in a hotel for 30 seconds, I'm not talking to you. So if I'm working with a banker, you don't have to, or a finance person, you don't have to be in the hotel business, but you better understand the terms in which I'm speaking.
Right. Well, very good. That's good. So now let's talk about something that's really pressing right now. Starting about March of 2020, February, March, our entire world changed, especially as it relates to the hospitality industry with COVID-19. As a result, there are a lot of hoteliers who are in crisis. There are a lot of projects that have been planned that are now been shelved. There are people who are losing their properties. What do you think, what's your immediate and long-term outlook as to the impact of COVID-19? And then what do you think we can do to fix it? Let's take that first question first.
Well, let's first kind of go back. For 10 years, the hotel business has had growth year over year, except for 1 month in 10 years. Mm-hmm. So we were sitting, fat and happy, and we were picking up the phone and taking orders, right? It was like a room service order. Oh, you want a group of 50,000 people? Sure. All right, hold on. I may get back to you. I may not get back to you. It was just so, we were so busy, being busy, that we've lost track of our customer, right? Because we were really busy. So a lot of hotels were doing really well. Some of the hotels, the big hotels in, like, say, Times Square, the Crown Plaza, the Hilton on 42nd Street, they weren't even doing well because of some some financing, the way they financed the deal, and also some union issues. So even in the best of times, they had tough times. So now those hotels are closed and they may not open anytime soon. So, but we went and we had a really good 10 years. Then this happens. We had 61 or 62 million visitors to New York. Vegas, I was in Vegas 15 times last year doing keynote speeches. That's where all the keynote speeches seemed to be last year. The conventions, they just extended their convention center because they had so much business. And then all of a sudden, whoop, it's closed. It's not open a little bit, it's closed. Vegas is closed. New York City, for all intents and purposes, is closed.
Right.
So now you have zero business. So New York and Vegas as a whole is in trouble from a tax perspective, but now these hotels are trying to get by on 20% in New York City, 20%, in Vegas 30%, 40%, 50%, on weekends 60%. So the short term is bleak. The medium range, which is from now till, I would say, 6 months from now, is hold on tight. Spend $0. Do not buy mints for pillows. Do not offer turn down service. Do not offer housekeeping every day. Have your general manager running the hotel. Hang on for dear life. And hopefully you don't go into forbearance and you don't go into bankruptcy. And that's the next 6 months, period, end of story. The 6 months to 18 months from there is anyone's guess. We can have the best time we've ever had in that period of time because all that pent up demand, or it could be a slow grind. I'm thinking, because what's happening from Europe around and also around the world, I think it's going to be a slow grind, 18 to 24 months, but you're going to start seeing occupancies 30, 40, 50%. With all that said, we are going to need more capital, more equity. We're going to need people to come and keep us floating and bubbling through for a period of time. Because if you're not going to turn around the hotel for 18 to 24 months, there's going to be wear and tear in that hotel. There's going to be employees that are going to need to be paid, and you may not be able to afford them. Give you an example. You cannot open the New York Hilton on 6th Avenue yet because they need $30 million to open the doors just to get the doors open. So there's a lot of, whether it be lease, maybe they'll sell their land. There's so many different variables depending on where you are. If you're if you're an outdoor corridor hotel near the ocean, you're in pretty good shape. If you're near a national park, you're in pretty good shape. But if you're an up and down hotel in New York City, San Francisco, Chicago, it's going to be a long, long, long haul.
Wow. So now, obviously, the hotel industry, like many major industries, are important to the cities, to the counties they operate in. What do you feel is the impact, the financial impact that this crisis will have on communities and cities and so forth?
Well, you already see it in New York. I'm from New York. I live in New York. You see it in New York. There was a payout to teachers that was a delayed payout over a period of X amount of years. And they were supposed to get let's call it $100 million, but it's a lot more than that. Say it's $100 million. And they were supposed to do this year. They were going to get paid out that $100 million. The government in New York said, we don't have the money. They went to arbitration last week and they said, well, you got to come up with half the money. So the government's like, how the hell are we going to get half the money? We don't have the tax base. We had 62 million travelers. That basically is our economy coming into New York City. And now we don't have the tax base. So what are we going to do? So it's causing havoc in all the cities, whether it be small cities, big cities. When you think of New York City, Broadway's closed, the conventions are closed, most hotels aren't open, the restaurants are 25% capacity. Those tax dollars, we're down, 80% in tax revenue. Where are we getting it to pay the firemen, the teachers, and the police officers? So this is a very, very serious, as serious as I've ever seen in my 33 years in business.
Wow. So what solutions do you propose? Because we've already had the one stimulus for small businesses. So I mean, what are the solutions?
Well, there's several solutions. The first solution is take care of your house, take care of your business. And every decision you make in your business from this second forward has got to be thought out. That's number one. Don't look for the stimulus, just look for what you can do. With that said, let's promote the stimulus and let's look for the stimulus. I did a video for AHOA for Congress that hopefully all the congressmen saw, and we asked for a second stimulus because there's the CMBS loans, there's all kinds of different ways to help our industry, whether it be direct support to the independent owner, whether it be a direct support to the banks, whether it be direct support to some of these REITs. There's so much that Congress can do and must do, will do, have to do. If we don't get stimulus, we're done. And if we're done, America's done, because the second largest provider of employment in this country is the travel industry. So it's not about when will it be done or it will be done. And how it's done is critical. It is absolutely critical. And we need money in the hands of small business operators. We need money in the hands of employees. And we need money in the hands of people that want to develop hotels. And we need it now. We cannot wait any longer. How can you take the second largest industry in the world, in America, and have it shut down and not have a second stimulus?
Right.
It's about practice.
Right. Yeah. So, with the previous stimulus, many of the larger companies and more organized businesses did benefit from that stimulus. But the majority of hoteliers are mom and pop businesses. Would you agree with that?
80% of them, 80 to 90% of them are.
Yeah.
Brands, that's another thing. Brands don't own anything. Marriott and Hilton don't own anything. They may have the marquee. 90-something% of all hotels are owned and operated by either small businesses or medium to larger business, but they're not owned by Marriott and Hilton. They're not in the hotel business. They're, well, I don't want to say it, but they're in the management fee business. They're not in the hotel business, and they keep their brand strong, which is their job through fees. But they don't want to be in the real estate business. They understood that what happened in 2008 when they all got slapped in the head, that we don't want to be in this business anymore. So is the small mom and pop business, the person that comes from a different country that basically worked as a housekeeper, got enough money, whether it be, our friends in the Indian community that help each other, that 60% of all hotels in America are owned and operated by the Indian community that struggle along to keep the roof on, and now own 1 hotel, 2 hotels, 17 hotels. These are the people that need the money. And the first stimulus did help. It helped the small business owners. It helped the bigger business owners. It helped everyone. And then they had the unemployment stimulus, which helped. We need a stimulus that gets in the pockets, and not only just to keep us alive, but to grow us.
Right. Right. So it sounds like there are 2 areas that we have to fix. One is some type of way to defer the debt, because many of these properties have debt that they cannot service.
Absolutely.
Then secondly, some type of stimulus to help them with their operational expenses.
Absolutely.
If,
The
even if
first,
you don't have any guests, you're still going to have operational expenses.
the first thing is you got to kick that ball down the field. You just got to say, get that debt off my back. We'll take care of it. We're a good operation. America's coming back. We're going to pay the debt. Get that off my back. Today, give me payroll. Get me to keep my hotel open at 30, 40%. The worst thing is for a hotel to close. If you can keep a hotel open at 20, 30, 40%, it's like a human being, right? You put me on life support. I'm probably, even if I come out of it, I'm never going to be the same.
Right.
You shut down a hotel, it's on life support. It's never going to be the same. And it's going to take a long time if it ever comes back to 90% of what it was. So yes, it's to get the debt off my back, kick the ball down the field, and let me operate. And honestly, the bad operators, get rid of them.
Yeah.
Let their hotels foreclose.
Right.
The people who haven't been paying their debts, the people that aren't getting or basically on their last leg with the brands, get rid of them. You know, this is good opportunity for them to go into a different business.
Right.
And some people will get crushed. And those people, we don't want the good businesses that deserve to be in business to get hurt. But the people that are hanging on, that were taking advantage of the 10 years of growth, aren't good business people. If they're not back, I'm not going to cry over it. But we need to get the debt. We need to cover our debt. We need safety.
Right. Okay. Well, very good. So, well, we certainly look forward to that. Now, one thing I'm excited about is the fact that you are going to be joining us at an event, a company that we're event that we're sponsoring at Pioneer Realty Capital. That is the Hospitality Forum for 2020, Hospitality Finance Forum. That's going to be on November the 18th. It's a virtual event. So what we've assembled are lenders from all over the nation who are actively lending in the hospitality space. So it's an opportunity for hotel owners at least to hear what kind of financing is going to be available, what kind of financing strategies that may be available for them. And we're very pleased and happy to announce that you're going to be our keynote guest.
I am?
And maybe I'm announcing it to you for the first time, but congratulations.
I look forward to it.
Yeah. So looking forward to that. What do you think that folks will be able to get out of that event that's coming up?
I think what's important is, like, if you look at my career, 33 years, I've operated, I developed, I've owned, I've done every part of the business. There's not a part of the business I haven't done, including asset management for Tishman of $2 billion worth of assets in New York City. I have all the experience. But one thing, no matter how much experience I have, that I don't really know as much as I should, is financing. What are the deals out there? And one of the things I'm really good at is leaving stuff that I'm not an expert at, to the experts. And I think the more information that owners have, the better. And a lot of these people are kind of fighting above their weight. They're punching above their weight because they've basically scrambled some money together. They built one hotel, that equity got another hotel, and that equity got a third hotel, and now they're sitting on a portfolio of 3 hotels that did well, but they're really not stabilized the way they should be. Right. Well, how can you stabilize me? I don't know the answer. I don't know 99% of what you know. And so if I'm going to try to do it as an owner myself, I'm going to get myself in trouble, and I'm going to be taken advantage of.
Right. Yeah. So it's important to get as much knowledge about the subject as possible, as with anything. And that's one, and I agree with you 100%. There's so much that's changed in finance, especially since 2012. And I don't think we talk about it enough, even in the industry. There's so many different products that are available. There's so many different structures that are available, but people have become accustomed to doing business the same old way that they've always done business. And to some degree, it's hurting.
And if you're not dealing with reputable people, it's like going into a mechanic, right? If you don't know a little bit about cars and you say, that'll be $700, please, and all he did was change the spark plug, you're like, all right, here's $700. I just need my car. Right. I need my debt forgiven. I need my hotel saved. Well, if you pay 2 points and 7% over 30 years and I own your first and your second born, then I'm going to save you. Okay, great. That sounds like a good deal. because I just need to save my hotel. That's all I know. So
Right.
this is a very dangerous position to be in. Is, you know, I have enough knowledge to be dangerous
Right.
in this in the finance field of hospitality. So that means I'm just way too dangerous. I want to get people I trust, people I respect, to really give me. And then as an entrepreneur, as a business person, as a person with common sense who grew up in Brooklyn, I can tell if you're full of crap or not.
Right.
But I really need to understand that I'm dealing with a person that's got all the answers and is not trying to make their retirement off of my deal.
Right.
They understand that this is the long term, and that my referring you is going to get you to your retirement, not one deal. And I think a lot of times, especially in the hotel industry, many of the owners I talk to on a weekly basis, that I just had this guy come in and try to sell me this, or try to sell me that. There's so many predatory people out there trying to sell the hotel industry, especially in finance, trying to sell all kinds of financial different things that they don't know what to believe. All they know is forbearance, bankruptcy sounds dangerous.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And absolutely is. You know, I tell you what would be a great, and I don't know if I've ever mentioned this to you, but conversations like this matter. Dialogue matter. I think you built your business on communicating and really bringing thoughts and ideas from different perspectives together in a format so that people can discuss. One thing I do want to announce for our audience, because this is really exciting to us, we have created the very first social media platform for commercial real estate. You can find it at CREmembers.com. And what that is, if you think of LinkedIn, it is the LinkedIn for commercial real estate. And what it allows you to do, if you're in the hospitality industry and you want to build a community or be part of a community that's more centric towards your thoughts and ideas, you can go and either create a group or join a group that's existing where people like Anthony and myself are parts of that group, and we can answer questions and we can have real discussions. But it's not limited to just hospitality. We cover all asset classes. But you know, for you guys who are watching this podcast, you know, check it out, CREmembers.com. Lots of resources. There's a lender database so that you don't have to go pay a broker to find a lender, to find an insurance company who's lending in hospitality or a private debt fund. If you are a member of this platform, for $25 a month, you get access to a lender database. You get all of our content on demand, like our podcasts and our virtual events. There's a vendor database. There's all of this available to you. There's education. If you want to learn finance with regards to commercial real estate, you can learn finance by being a member of that platform. So hopefully that will be a help to
wow, that's way overdue, because I know, listen, the number one concern and problem that I find in this industry is, Anthony, I need more money. Anthony, I'm in trouble. You know, this is, you know, we were doing well. We were just surviving when we were doing well. We were making a living. A lot of these hotels, you're buying yourself a job in a lot of these smaller hotels. Absolutely. So there's not a lot of wiggle room. There's a lot of responsibility. If you listen, restaurants are going through a tragedy in this industry, that in this society right now, that's never been seen. There's going to be probably, if not a majority, close to the majority of restaurants in big cities not coming back. Right. Those restaurants, if they cost you $200,000, $500,000, $1 million, once you kind of, the industry comes back, maybe you could open up a smaller restaurant. But when you're talking about a hotel and you lose a $30 million note, you lose a $30 million hotel, you're not coming back anytime soon, because no one's lending you money when you lost a $30 million project. And so that is the number one priority and concern in our industry. And a database like this is like, it's critical.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, Anthony, thank you so much. And hopefully we can have you back on our program. We can
Absolutely.
talk for ever about different subjects. But I certainly appreciate you being a guest on our program today. Or do you have any other comments before we close out?
No, just that, like what you just set up is so important for our industry and small time or even medium-sized businesses. This is the area of expertise that is most needed in business, period, financing. That is the one that is lacking. And the person that understands financing usually wins. So the more you understand, and again, one of the things that about this is not about just believing everything or just taking everything that comes, is being an educated consumer. The more educated you become in how to finance your deals, the more deals you can finance.
Perfect. I absolutely agree. And so, and that's why we created the CREmembers.com platform. Free education, lender database, vendor database, content from experts like you and from all over the world, and all for $25 a month, $300 a year. We wanted to make it affordable because this is what this industry has been missing. But certainly, thank you for coming on our podcast, and I thank you for allowing me to be on your podcast.
My honor.
And I look forward for us to do it again one day.
Listen,
okay?
business is about friendships and about helping each other. So it's an absolute honor.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Anthony.